Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Club. I'm Graham.
And I'm George.
By now, you've probably played around a bit with the Zonai Wing and noticed, even if a bit disappointedly, that it requires a slide to take off. Well, fear not, because we're here to show you a better way. Yes, we're going to show you how you could take off from any ledge, expound some helpful information about the Zonai Wing and its properties, and even a cheeky technique that will let you fly forever. We've got all the tools and knowledge you'll need to make quick and informed decisions as you go about your sky sailing adventures.
Let's start our maiden voyage by showing how you can launch the wings off any ledge. The slides are not plentiful nor convenient, so it was a bit disappointing realizing they were required for takeoff. We knew there had to be a better way. So we thought to ourselves, what is a magically imbued right-handsman of Hyrule supposed to do? Well, the answer is twofold: Ultra Hand and Recall.
To seamlessly launch your wing device along with any attached pieces from any ledge, you'll want to do this. Bring it over the edge and lower it just a touch. You'll be jumping onto it in just a moment, so make it a height that's convenient. Hold the wing steady for about 3 seconds, then switch to recall and use it on the construct. You'll have a brief moment to leap onto your creation. Release recall and enjoy the smooth takeoff. With this, you'll have the freedom to launch from any cliff you please. A few things to note about this tip is that Recall has a much longer reach than Ultra Hand. So if you make a mistake, don't panic. As the wings fall down, you'll have plenty of time to catch it and call it back up. In addition, if you need more time to jump on, you can extend the amount of time that the wings remain in place during the recall phase by wiggling it just a little. If you hold it steady for too long, the recall won't properly record that time. Feel free to play around with what feels most comfortable for you.
You'll notice as you enjoy your peaceful cruise amongst the clouds that your wing device interrupts your sightseeing with some green blinking. Wings only last 1 minute and 15 seconds of glide time, with that last 15 seconds being the blinking, warning you that time is running out. To be clear, this time limit is only consumed while gliding, so if you can somehow ascend with enough force, such as with fans directly below the wing, or if you're in free fall, then it won't count against this timer.
When it comes to the best way to ride on the Zonai Wing, we did a lot of testing. Everything from optimal fan placements, to speed tests, and even where to stand. From all our testing, one thing became clear, and unsurprisingly, the recommendation in the device's description really is the best. Balancing yourself on the middle of the wing is the best for overall distance and maintained altitude. If you don't mind sacrificing a chunk of height to increase your overall speed, you can sit near the front. Just, don't fall off. Standing in the back doesn't really help in any way by itself, but if done so in conjunction with fans, you can really start to get some great gains.
Pity the living, and above all, those who live without gains.
Speaking of which, before taking off, you might wonder if you should add a fan or two to your wing. I'll start by saying if you're looking to fly forward faster, fans aren't really going to help you. Through our testing, there was no appreciable difference in the distance covered, even when using up to 8 fans at a time. However, if you're interested in maintaining altitude with very little drop, I recommend going with just 1 fan on the back and then standing centered. This way you can spend most of your flight at an even trajectory while using minimal amount of battery. This is what the fans are best at: keeping buoyancy or ascending.
If you're interested in gaining some height, realistically, you're going to need a minimum of 2 fans, but honestly, 3 is a bit more optimal. If you really need to fly up to something, look out for large Zonai charges. They'll help you go the distance, but be sure it'll be worth it, because they're a rare and very useful commodity. Maybe save your game just before making your construct, but not after, or else you'll waste your resources. We talk more about this in detail in our tips video. Additionally, if you decide you want to add parts to your wing while you're already flying, well, with a steady Ultra Hand, you can pull out some fans or other devices and set them into place. But be quick, because you'll be eating into your glide time. This specific technique will actually become extra relevant in an upcoming segment.
If you just need to go straight up, that's a tall order and not a job the Zonai Wing will be able to do for you very well. Instead, you're going to need 4 fans on a square object, or fans arranged like this to move you upward. Keep in mind, this is going to cost a lot of charge, so you'll need to improvise on how to keep your batteries running until you make it up to your destination.
Oh, frick.
As a related note, there are lock points present on the Zonai Wing and other devices. It's best to try and place items on these points for a more balanced weight distribution. We'll cover this in more detail in a future build video. All in all though, there are likely many things to discover with different part combinations, so go wild. Go Breath of the Wild. We simply hope these guidelines are a good baseline to get started.
Before we get into the final segment, we want to mention the Skyview Towers. You see, not all Skyview Towers are created equal. Each tower will launch you into the air, but some higher than others. It's helpful to understand which tower will send you the highest, especially if you've got your sights on an island that's floating equally between two different towers. There are even instances where picking a tower that launches you higher will be more beneficial than one that's technically closer to your destination. Here are the names for each tower and at what approximate altitude you can open up your glider. We even have a map linked below with the name, locations, and max altitude listed. Though be warned, it shows the whole map as they've all been unlocked. No important map markers other than the towers are shown though, so it'll be a great resource once you have them all accessed.
This is not a spoiler warning, but instead, this warning is a bit more abstract. Our final segment is a technique that will allow you to fly forever. Information like this technique is easily learned, but impossible to forget. Part of the fun of Tears of the Kingdom is overcoming the limitations inherent in the game, which in turn make for memorable experiences. Knowing how to fly infinitely may forever change the experience you have with Hyrule and its challenges. While this technique won't trivialize all travel in the game, it certainly removes many barriers. As such, it would be irresponsible of us to not at least give this recommendation. Be very sure you want to learn how to do this now instead of later. Consider if you want to experience the game with or without this knowledge from the very start. You can always come back to this video later to learn how this technique is done. For those ready, or for those that just want to know regardless, here's what you'll need to do to conquer the sky.
If you're anything like us, you'll have been sad to see that the glide time of the wing is limited. We were excited to cruise along the skies peacefully until we hit an invisible wall. Your first thought might be to spawn a second bird in the last 15 or so seconds, hop on and keep going. We came up with some working methods for this and other similar techniques, but these methods were usually inconsistent and might even end up costing several wings just to get going, only to have to spend more a minute later. Well, that is all the methods but one. Enter the TGC bird drop, or bird drop for short. First, we'll show off the technique and then we'll get into an explanation of the specifics you'll need to know not only to get it right, but to get it right every time with ease.
Alright, so how do you do the bird drop? First things first, you need to be gliding. Diving or free falling won't work. Next, make sure you're not pushing the left stick in any direction. Link's momentum can often be passed onto the wing in strange ways. Once in position, point the camera straight down as you slowly descend. Open up the quick drop menu and navigate to the wing. Once you get it highlighted, if you're able to hold the left stick forward before dropping the wing, that would be ideal. If not, just make sure you push the left stick forward as quickly as possible. When you're ready to deploy the wing, hit the X button. The Zonai Wing should spawn under you, and if you held the left stick forward as it spawns, you'll very quickly pass over the tail. Once Link is over it, let go of the paraglider, holding forward to fall onto the device. And voila, you've just done a bird drop.
Note that the wing will drop the direction the camera is looking. So if Link is facing forward, but the camera is looking to the left, the wing will drop with a left-facing orientation. It's still possible to do the bird drop in this situation, but when starting out, try and line up Link and the camera so that they're facing the same direction. And strictly speaking, you don't even need to look down when executing the bird drop at all. But when you first start using it, it can be a nice aid to getting the timing and placement just right. Thankfully, it's not hard to execute. It's just some specific set of steps that took us a bit to figure out. A lot of this is based on Link's momentum, so if you're moving in some way, the wings may spawn out of reach or even veer off wildly. So make sure you're as steady as possible before the drop.
And to be honest, we're actually selling this technique a little short, because it's actually more than just flying infinitely. As you can likely tell, it's also the ability to start flying from anywhere. If you can paraglide, you can bird drop. If you're really skilled, you'll be able to connect fans or other devices, allowing you to gain altitude as mentioned before. The possibilities of what you can do with the TGC bird drop exceeded even our expectations. Amazingly, if you want to, you can even ascend through an island using the wing as a platform right after you've done a bird drop. This changes the game completely. Not only can you hop from bird to bird, wing to wing, but you can initiate this from any aerial position. Barely miss getting on an island? Bird drop. Fall off said island? Bird drop. About to run out of stamina while paragliding? Bird drop. This is why we wanted to give a warning beforehand. It's just too useful and handy to ignore once you know how to do it. Given how helpful wings are, you'll want to stock up on as many of them as possible. And if you want to know the best way to do that, check out our tips video as we have some information relating to that.
Thanks everybody for watching. For staying all the way to the end, I have one special tip just for you. If you want to know one of the best spots to launch off from, all you need to do is travel back to the Room of Awakening from the beginning of the game. Once there, turn around and enter the hallway. Ascend up, and you'll find yourself more than 2,300 altitude in the air, with a plethora of directions to take off from. And there you have it. We're planning a lot more Zelda content, along with other high-quality content featured on our channel. So if this is something you enjoyed, subscribe. We've even got plans to live stream Zelda on YouTube and Twitch simultaneously with our very unique duo gameplay stream setup. So if that sounds cool, come check it out. But with that, we'll see you in the next one.
See ya!